So thanks again to everybody who has joined us today for our talent webinar series on our values and culture. My name is Yanine, and I am the talent acquisition lead here in the US. And I actually have my colleague Mahesh Behera here with me. He is one of our senior specialists on our talent team in India. And we're really excited to talk to you today more about what makes us special in regards to culture and values. We actually have two awesome guest speakers who will be joining us here as well. So to get started, I'll review our agenda really quickly. As you can see, we'll talk about those culture and values. Essentially, what is the essence of ZoomRx culture? Then we'll kind of go into all of our values. And then our two guest speakers, one is going to dive into what is it really like here culture-wise? So you'll hear some insight from her. And then second guest speaker will talk about what is it like living the values every day and how does that translate into how we work from a day-to-day basis. Hopefully at the end, we should have some time for questions and answers. So if you do have questions throughout the presentation, there should be a chat box on your screen. Please feel free to write your questions on in there. We'll read a couple of them at the end and hopefully have some answers for you. Awesome. Well, we'll go ahead and get started with our culture and values presentation. So we're going to talk about the essence of ZoomRx culture first. And we've kind of broken that up into 4 different pillars. And as you can see on the screen, those are impact driven, we are client centric, we drive strategic growth, and we operate under a values led partnership. Essentially here at ZoomRx, our culture is a lot about impact. As you can see, it's driven by that. And we put our clients first. We help our clients develop and launch life-changing medications. And when they succeed, we grow too. And that's why we focus on strategic decisions that are going to work for ZoomRx, but also reflect our values in the way that we operate day to day. So we can continue to build those really strong partnerships and drive success for everyone involved, specifically for our clients as well. So the essence of ZoomRx culture is that, right? We operate as impact-driven culture. We're client-centric. They're very important for us. And we drive strategic growth through that, but we lead with our values. And that is what my counterpart, Mahesh, is going to talk to you today about as well. He's going to dive into what each of our values are in a lot of detail, and then we'll move on to our guest speakers. So Mahesh, I'll turn it over your way to kind of talk a little bit about our values now.
Thanks, Yanin. Hey, good evening, good morning, everyone. So we're going to talk through values like Yanin mentioned about the cultures, right? So we are having 4 important values that to talk about. The first one is about knowledgeable, okay? And the next one is credible, transformative, and ingenious. So at ZoomRx, we follow 2 big ideas to begin with. So being wise like a sage and being creative like an innovator. And these values shape how we work together and how we help each other grow. And talking specifically, we will also deep dive into all the 4 aspects. The first one is knowledgeable. We know what we are doing and we are experts in our work and always learning to stay ahead. And that is what knowledgeable speaks about. And the next one is credible. So credible, we trying to tell you we do things the right way, so the people and the clients that we work together and trust us because we are honest, reliable, and consistent. And the next one is transformative. It is pretty much self-explanatory because we embrace change and we stay flexible and adapt quickly to new ideas, tools that are needed by our healthcare specific clients. And the final one, ingenious, basically we are trying to talk here is about we think creatively, we find smart solutions, we learn from our mistakes, and we keep improving. Okay, so talking of the first, okay. So talking of the first trait, which is knowledgeable, we have 3 subheadings under it. We basically try to tell here is build expertise, take ownership of your learnings journey, and learn something every day. So here we would like to characterize it as we look at the form of a perspective that we are all consistently learning and growing our knowledge. These areas we can make real impact. We want our clients to look at us as an experts And in order to do that, it is critical that each one of us takes ownership of our own learnings, and we need to put ourselves in the driver's seat to ensure that we continuously learn and evolve and move forward and become experts. Yeah. Moving on to the next one. The next behavior is keep things simple. So in this behavior, we would like to tell about simplify whenever possible. A true understanding allows for clear and concise solutions. So in this particular field, we try to talk about simplicity is clear and concise and unambiguous. And when we think of a solution, it's simple, but it does what it needs to be done, and we do it without any unnecessary bells and whistles. And we don't want to be a kind of experts who can only talk about things in a complex manner, but which makes sense. And we want to simplify complexity and provide clear and concise solutions to the complex problems that we have. Moving to the next one is yeah, this is the final one in knowledgeable trait. This under this we want to tell that stay humble. All of the knowledge in this world is worthless if we are too proud or too self-important to share it with others and learn from others as well. And as we work towards becoming experts, we want to continue to keep our feet firmly on the ground, but along with that we want to grow and stay humble. Yeah, we going to take the next. It is about credible. Under credible, also we have the three subheadings, in which in this category we wanted to talk about take pride on your work. It clearly signifies aim for excellence in everything that you do. Accept nothing less than the best from yourself. And in this trait, I want to talk about the way we look at this behavior is we want to produce work that we can be proud of and be associated with belief, and all that we produce, that work, we are happy to put our name on it and take pride similarly through quality of outcomes that we do and we produce. Moving on to the next one. So be authentic. So what we are trying to tell is engage in open, honest, constructive, and candid communications. So in this behavior, we want to touch base on few aspects, like it's seen in an attempt to be nice or kind. We can run through into problems of being inauthentic. Okay, sometimes when we communicate with others, with this behavior, we want everyone to encourage each other to be open and honest with a clear communication. And the intention is such that we help each other grow to stay clearly. We are not saying we should be abrasive or dismissive when we are interacting with other people, but what we are trying to say here is we need to balance the respect and candor so that we are not being disgeneous. Moving to the next and final one. So the final behavior we are looking at is at incredible characteristics is taking ownership. So take initiative, lead by examples, and assume responsibility for your team and organization and client success. In this aspect, here the behavior says that we want to imbibe in broader level where each individual is responsible for their own success. Their team success is also in their hand because they work hand in hand together, and that's where we are taking initiative constantly to become a successful organization. And in a smaller way, there is own work and encouraging their colleagues to do the same as well. Moving to the next one. So we talk about transformative earlier, and here we are talking about be decisive. commit to your decisions. Timely choices are often more valuable than perfect ones. So here, I would like to tell you guys that in order to be truly transformative, to not only react, but also to change this effectively, but also preempt and cause change only of disruption. We need to avoid being paralyzed by indecisions, where we have to try implement ways of working which is clear. Single decision maker can be identified for a particular situation, and that person is being empowered and make decisions with their colleagues and will commit to it. So we believe that decisions are reversible, okay, and would rather make a decision and change it if it is required, rather than we taking that loss of time and not making a real decision. Moving to the next one, uh, it is about navigate uncertainty. So in this trait, we are trying to talk about comfortably handling ambiguity and incomplete information. Knowing the adaptability is the key. Here in our work, things won't be always clear at ZoomRx. We may face ambiguity, incomplete information might come up, or changing circumstances where that's okay. At ZoomRx, we stay calm and flexible, and we adapt, keep moving forward, and figure out things as we go. And because the adaptability to navigate uncertainty is what sets us as a strong team apart. Moving to the final trait uh, under transformative is being resourceful. So if you be resourceful, do more with less, use constraints as an opportunity to innovate. In this trait, at ZoomRx, we mean we often work with limited time, data, or resources, and which is okay. And instead of seeing these limitations as problems, as we see problems, we see them as opportunities as well, and to think differently and find smarter ways to get things done. And what it basically means is work smart, think creatively, and take initiatives and keep learning. And moving into the next, yeah, this is the final trait in which ingenious is we talk about build for the future, balance urgency in short term and patience in long term to build a future that's better than today. So in this trait, we are basically talking of ZoomRx. We act quickly to get things done, and but we think ahead of future. We make choices that help succeed today and make things better on a longer run. And what it means is moving quickly when needed, think ahead of today's work that helps for tomorrow, and build things that last, not just the quick fixes that we do, and grow in a smart and steady way. And there's another point I wanted to cover is we are not just solving today's problem, but we are creating a better future for our teams and our clients. Moving to the next one. So in this trait, we are talking about challenge the status quo. So push beyond the usual to innovate and excel. Here I want to touch upon, that is a fairly self-explanatory, but we call it specifically of trying to say, don't just settle. This is how it's been with ZoomRx. And we basically ask questions, we try ideas, and look for better ways to do things. Just because something works, that doesn't mean it's best. It is the best that we can do. But we believe that there is always room to improve what it means. Ask like questions like why and why not. Look for smarter and better ways to speak up with something that doesn't make sense. Try new things even if they are different by challenging the usual way of doing things. We stay ahead of basically improve constantly and create real impact basically for our team and for our pharma and healthcare clients. Moving to the next one. So the final trait under ingenious is yeah, 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 yeah. So final trait under ingenious is dare to experiment. So try new things, fail fast, fail forward. So in this, what we are trying to say is that ZoomRx, we believe in testing ideas. Even they don't work out on the first time, we move quickly and learn from mistakes. And we keep improving. It's okay if we fail, but as long as we learn and grow, and it means take smart risks, try new approaches, and learn from the failures, and keep improving with time. Yeah. Over to you, Yanin.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Mahesh, for that. As you learned from Mahesh what some of our values are, really values for us as an organization, it defines what we stand for, kind of how we operate and work together, how do we serve our clients, how do we solve problems, and those values that Mahesh has covered is really the fundamentals of that. But I'm sure you're probably wondering, what does culture really look like? What is it really like at ZoomRx? And hopefully you'll get some insight from our first guest speaker. Our first guest speaker is Jenna Kaschiva. She is our organizational development lead here in the US. She joined us last year in 2024, pretty much oversees our US organizational development team from anything human resources to benefits administration, employee engagement. She plays a big role in ensuring that seamless employee experience from somebody's first day through their entire journey with us here at ZoomRx. So I thought there would be no one better to talk about culture than Jenna. So I'll turn it over her way. Jenna.
Thanks, Yanin. It's really kind of you to say all this good stuff about me. Hi, everyone. So I'm really excited to share some experiences as an insider from the ZoomRx culture perspective so that you can learn more about us. And actually, I have probably thousands of different examples, but since my time is limited, I just only want to offer three, which to me are very important. I think this is a core of our culture. This is what we live and breathe. So the first one is that we are extremely versatile, and we are also very committed to people whom we employ, which means that we are happy to have you come as you are, for you to be comfortable to be here with us. We take a lot of an effort to ensure that you feel welcomed, that you feel appreciated on multiple levels. And also we are committed to your success here, to your long-term journey with us. Once you become a team member, you get a committed team, you get a supportive environment, you get multiple opportunities to grow career-wise, profession-wise, and probably even personality-wise. So to me, it's extremely dear, and I think, speak from the perspective of all of our regions and geographies, that our employees feel rewarded, feel valued, and it makes my job really enjoyable to create such wonderful experiences. Secondly, we're extremely supportive and on, again, many, many levels. So for example, from my personal perspective, I am a new parent. I was astonished by how my team and all the team members in other departments were accommodating to my new schedule, to my new needs. When my baby attends the meeting, starts crying, supporting me when I'm talking. Everybody is super understanding, and this is really refreshing, how you can feel comfortable here being uncomfortable, I would say, sometimes. And on a professional level, this is also very interesting how we operate here. We want you to be creative, we want you to be innovative, we want you to make mistakes. I think it's also super important because this is how we grow, this is how we progress, this is how the business and the strategy and people here get better. So we want you to dare, as we say many times, to dare to be different, to dare to experiment, to dare to fail. Obviously, sometimes again, it feels uncomfortable to fail, but it also helps you progress, and everyone is super accommodating and supportive on this matter. Last but not least, we're all very close to the leadership. And to me personally, and I think to our team members, it's really important that our leadership is living our values too, and that our culture in this regard reflects their personalities a bit. So you can reach out to our leaders, you can speak to them. They are very approachable, they are very kind, they answer all our questions honestly, and they try to figure out together with us what can improve our experience, how we can help our people feel valued, feel welcomed here, how we can help them grow more and become better professionals. And definitely we're all inspired by the same mission. So I think on this level, despite our fairly big size, we're a pretty close-knit group, and so we're still very lean and flat. So these are 3 examples that I wanted to bring to the table. I'm happy to answer any questions that you guys might have, and I hope it sounds really as exciting to you as to me to potentially join ZoomRx and become a part of our team. Thanks, Yanin.
Thanks, Jenna, so much for sharing some of that insight. Like she said, if you do have any questions on the call, we do have a chat box. Feel free to put your questions in that chat box, and hopefully we'll get to them at the end. But with that, I am happy to introduce to you our second guest speaker. He is going to be talking about living the values every day. And so what does it mean? All of those values that Mahesh has talked about, how does that translate into our day-to-day? And Shivesh is our engagement manager in our India consulting team. He, in his role, helps clients develop and execute successful marketing and commercialization strategies across the product lifecycle. So he does sit on our consulting organization. And for those of you that may be on the call interested in exploring our consulting roles, I think you'll gain really good value from him explaining to you a little bit about how do these values look like on a day-to-day basis in his role and across the organization. So Shivesh, I'll turn it over your way. Thank you so much.
Thanks a lot, Yanan. Hello, everyone. Good evening, good morning. I hope this session is bringing a lot of new insights into how ZoomRx values different cultures, as well as what are the inherent culture that we are trying to build over time. I'll talk majorly about 2 very important things that my colleague Mahesh talked about. One was being ingenious, challenging the status quo. So at ZoomRx in consulting specifically, we are extremely focused on bringing new insights, bringing new data points to the client every time we do some analysis. I'll talk more about it, citing an example where we collaborated with a lot of different stakeholders in the client space as well as within ZoomRx, and how it helped us answering the client questions eventually. And that led to 2 things. One, of course, build a specific capability within the company as well as increasing the business from the client. And this also connects with the fact that we are trying to learn something new every day. It's not that we are stagnant in our learning journey. Consulting specifically, not only in ZoomRx, consulting specifically banks on the knowledge base of all its consultants. And we as consultants always try to enhance our knowledge base day to day in day to day life. I'll start with my example. It started with the client question of how do they estimate demand for a certain brand that they are going to launch in market, let's say 2 years down the line. While it being one of the key questions in brand planning, this was one of the early phases of ZoomRx's capability for building demand estimation. And we till that point, we used to outsource that question to our to a third party vendor for different analytics, as well as we used to share the data directly from that third party to the client. This time around, we took a decision of building it entirely inside or internally in ZoomRx, and that led to a flurry of discussions between the teams, between I was like leading that effort from India side, and then we had a couple of other managers from US side, and also eventually we involved our CEO Sriram, who is an demand estimation expert in his previous lives. So that entire experience gave me a very key insight in the way we are approaching different problems. One was we always want to challenge what is being running on. We had the choice of going with the same third party vendor, using their data, rewrapping it in ZoomRx format and shipping it to the client. But going back to what client asked us, and we going in deeper realms of demand estimation, statistical methods of how to do it, advanced analytics methods on how to implement it, and eventually advanced Excel methods on how to present it to the client in the most effective format. That led to two things. One, it opened an entire uh, practice area of demand estimation, and we started building that practice from scratch. Now if I speak from that day till now, we are one of the pioneers in that field and have implemented more than 15 20 plus demand estimation practices or studies across brands, across life cycles, across clients, across geographies, in fact. So that tells us that we as a company, we as an organization, we as a consulting team always focus on being ingenious. Let's try to challenge the status quo. What extra that we can bring to the table? What ingenious can we bring to the table for our clients? So that's like one of the key culture factors or culture values that I have seen in action and try to imbibe in my daily life too. I think that is what is setting us apart in the industry. Our clients talk about it, and also they actually this differentiates us from a lot of the players in the market right now. So being ingenious, challenging status quo, challenging what is happening right now is definitely one of the key aspects that I have seen developing, as well as we as consulting team tries to imbibe. That's all from my side. Yanin, over to you.
Thank you so much, Navesh. I really appreciate the insight that you've provided. We do have some time for questions and answers now. I do see a couple of questions that have come in already. Most of the ones so far are about openings for freshers or associates, senior associates, so positions in the consulting organization, and if there are availability in that. So I'll start off by saying if you are interested in joining our organization, you can go to our website, zoomrx.com/careers. You can navigate our careers website, take a look at the opportunities that we have. But I'll turn it over, Mahesh, your way. If you want to give a little insight for, are there openings for freshers? Where do they kind of fit in the consulting team, and how do they apply for any specific role?
Sure. Thanks, Anand. Yes, we do have openings for the India offices for the freshers role, and this is not only restricted to a consulting team. We also have other teams specific. As Yanin said, you can visit our website. We're gonna also post on chat our our email ID so that you can directly apply and get your resumes. I've just posted it on the chat itself. You can take a look.
Thank you, Mahesh. I'm seeing another question here. Maybe Shivesh, you might be able to answer this one, but what does a day-to-day look like on the consulting team for an associate or a consultant?
Right. Absolutely. So the day-to-day for anyone in the team depends on what phase of market research or what phase of the study we are in. Let's take it phase by phase. So when we are developing the survey, when we are talking with the clients, understanding their problems, a lot of our time is spent in defining the right question for the client. A lot of time is spent in taking them on board with how we are understanding the problem and how we are translating it to a question or a questionnaire that we will try to answer for the clients. So that's in the early part of the discussion. That's where the senior members of the team, as well as the execution folks, help us in drafting, understanding the overall problem statement. When we move from there to data collection phase, a lot of things, a lot of efforts are focused on making sure the right data quality is getting collected. We are reviewing all the respondents that are coming in. We are spending time in validating the responses. We are spending time in making sure that the data that we are collecting is of highest quality, as well as there are a lot of legal compliance frameworks or legal compliance mandates from various institutions, which we as pharma consultants have to adhere to. So we have to make sure that those things are getting adhered to on a day-to-day basis. Once we are done with data collection phase, we move on to data analysis. That's where we spend a lot of time in brainstorming within the team on understanding which data cut will be most valuable for the client, how should we visualize a particular story point, and eventually coming out with a story which is very compelling to the client themselves and their stakeholders. One of the key aspects that we always keep in mind is that our client is not the end person who will be consuming that report or consuming the data. It's their clients who will be consuming that and making actionable strategies based on that. So a lot of our time day to day on a day to day basis in the analysis phase goes in analyzing the data and making sure the right data cuts are being presented. And eventually, when we move on from analysis to reporting as well as follow-ups, we share the report with the client, we get their feedback, we can take them as follow-ups, update them as well as ship it back. And this process comes again or starts again when we are starting a new wave of the same research or maybe starting a new research.
Thank you
I
so
hope
much,
that
Shivesh.
answered the question.
I appreciate you answering that. We probably have time for one or two more questions. I am seeing some questions related to people who may have applied. If you have applied and have questions, please email us at recruitment@zoomrx.com and we'll be happy to reach out to you with an update, recruitment@zoomrx.com. As far as questions, we have time for, let's say, two questions. Shivesh, these are probably going to be best for you, but one is, what is the geographical scope of most projects? Are they focused on single countries, regional, or global?
Right. So majority of our studies are US based studies because that's where, if you understand pharma landscape, that's where the majority of money is coming for these pharma firms. So they are spending a lot of their marketing and sales efforts in the geography. So majority of our studies are focused in US. We do a lot of studies in Europe for European region where it's combined for 5 to 6 countries. We call it EU5, where we have UK plus EU4, since UK left the EU, European Union. So it's UK, Germany, France, Italy, Spain, and one more, I think. So these are the two major that constitutes, I think, around 99% of all our studies. And then there are sparse China-based APAC region, sometimes Japan is included. In the scope of the study. So this is the geographical distribution.
Thanks, Shivesh. Last question here. Hi, Shivesh. They said this to you directly.
Mhm.
Somebody wants a little elaborate example of how exactly ZoomRx Consulting differentiates itself from other consulting companies. I have a thought, but I'll let you go first.
Right, right. No, absolutely. I think one of the key point of differentiation, POD, as we say, for ZoomRx has been the quality of consultants that we have in our team, as well as their knowledge base that is there. Uh, that's on the software aspect. The consultants on the US side, on the India side that we have are extremely knowledgeable, extremely talented, and know what they are doing for different clients. Have a very detailed experience in the industry. So that's on the software aspect. On the tools and technology aspect, we are a technology enabled company. So majority of our processes, of our differentiation come from the fact that we have a lot of internal tools which are backed by technological advancements. It's not that we are still a very, I would say, old-fashioned consulting firm. We are technology first. Even we started implementing a lot of LLM-based tools within the consulting team. So that tells us that technology is at the backbone of whatever operations that we do. And of course, eventually, we are very focused on where we want to play or where we want to be in the entire pharma landscape. So that helps us in being hyper-focused and then delivering the exceptional results for the client. And eventually, everything, all these three things culminates into extremely good experiences for our client because they come back to us for the same research or for new research, and that's how we maintain the existing business as well as grow the current business.
Thanks, Shivesh, for that. I agree with everything Shivesh said, and those were going to be some of my points. But the last one I'll add is that we do have a pretty flat structure and really high autonomy in our organization that I think is different from other organizations where because we operate with minimal hierarchy, it allows our team members to really take ownership and lead initiatives pretty early on in their careers. And that really helps with individuals on our organization to kind of foster innovation, grow within professionally, personally, and it also creates a culture of trust and accountability, which we talked about through our values, right? You have that ability to take ownership of your role, take ownership of what your part in the projects are or in your position, and be able to really be make change happen or look at things from a different angle and explore that and be ingenious in that sense. So I think that is something that really differentiates us from other companies as well. But with that, we have come to the end of our webinar. I do see that there are a couple more questions left. What we can do is, if you are on this call and have registered, we will answer those separately and hopefully send an email out with some responses. Really quickly, I am seeing, are there remote roles, things like that. That information can also be found on our website, or you can send us an email, recruitment@zoomrx.com, anything that is related to positions, whether they're remote, whether they're in office, what positions are available, things like that. If you have specific questions about recruitment, you can send them that way. Otherwise, all other questions, we will send an email with some of those responses for you. But that is all that we have today. We truly appreciate you joining us for our talent webinar series. Hopefully you were able to learn a little bit more about our culture, our values, what makes us different, and have you join us in the future here at ZoomRx. Thanks, everyone. Have a good day.